Sweet surrender as I love, serve, and remember.
So when Julian was, we came out here from the DC area when Julian was 2. And Julian, I really disliked baseball. I thought it was very boring. So it was horrifying when at a very young age of 2, Julian fell in love with the game. And that's all he wanted to talk about. So we moved out here, and I was the assistant minister at Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. And for those of you who have never been there, and if you haven't been there, it's in Oakland. It's a beautiful center, gorgeous. Please go. June 10th, by the way, is the graduation for CSL ministers at Oakland Center. So go get a sense of the organization and people who are just the joy of graduating ministerial school, which takes years to go through, and see this incredible, beautiful building. So anyways, there's the church, and then there's a courtyard, and then there's the fellowship hall. And I was doing Wednesday night services, so there was some space there out there in the courtyard. On Sundays it was pretty full, but so Julian always had his little soft bat and his little mushy ball. And he would bring it, and he'd just sit in the courtyard. Want to play ball? Want to play ball? And he just, whoever would take him up on it, he'd grab. And Claudia LaRoche, who was the teen leader, she bent down to him, and she goes, well, I don't know if I can really play this right now. And he said, Claudia, it's okay to play. He was like, this is okay. You can do this. It's okay to play. How much do we need that message today? It's okay to play. We get so rigid with what we should be doing, what our life purpose is. Are we going to heal all the sick and feed all the poor? That's a lot to do. There's not much room for play. But imagine if Julian didn't play, if we told kids they couldn't play, what that would do to them. So I want to just give a little spiritual context to this. This is just sort of a mental thing, so if it bores you, it'll only take a minute, just fade out for a little bit. So I got the imagery the original imagery from Yogananda, that if you, in the old-time theaters, you saw a projection, which is sort of the semblance of the idea, and then you see the light beam that goes to the movie screen, and that light beam is what we would call in Science of Mind the law. He called it the energy, the subtle form. So it's got to go through the light for the forms to show up on the screen. Those forms aren't going to show up on the screen without the light and without the idea. And then this month we've been talking about practicing the presence all month. And so I just added on to his metaphor. It was when I was reading Ramana Maharshi, which was all about the I am. This ever-present isness of pure being that doesn't come and doesn't go. It just is all of the time. And I liken that to the movie screen, that white movie screen. It has everything. It doesn't need anything. It's fully sustained on its own, whole, perfect, and complete. It's already love. It's already peace. It's already joy, it's already harmony, abundance, beauty. It is everything. It needs nothing, and it just is. It doesn't come, it goes, the movie screen doesn't change, it's always there. And now with I like even the digital way there, could never explain how they get, and you don't have to explain it to me after church for those of you who know. I don't mind being ignorant about certain things. But the way the movie shows up on the screen now, you don't have that light projector, but it's even more real because you can't see the law, you can't see how that's operating, but it is putting onto the screen forms the whole story. So that's passing, then and so the miracle and the joy is that we are all of these things. We are the story that's happening on the screen. We have that light body, that law that is ever present with every one of us. There's nobody, whether you know this or not, it's always through all life, all creation, the form, the law or the energy, and then the idea that comes before it. So the idea, you can't see at all. It's just this divine idea. And then the screen, which it's all playing out on. So practicing the presence is about connecting with that part of our life that is the screen. Bless you. It's connecting with that part that's ever present. The new language that we use today, the more modern language, is it's non-duality. So there's all these practices that can connect you with that screen, this ever-present reality. But like I said, that presence, when you feel it, you feel full, you feel free, you feel joy, you feel everything that spirit is. But there's something, at least I can only speak for myself, I loved it, but then there was a whole other aspect of creativity. That's what happens on the screen. That's what the idea, the energy, and the form. That's what we're here all participating in. You may not be interested or not, but it's happening because we're here. And that's where the dreams come in. The dreams are those, so the ever-present reality is always already there. That's fine. But then we get these little nudgings inside of our soul, these dreams that have a desire to be fulfilled. So if you have an idea, but you don't allow it to become light and then form, it's an unmanifest idea. And what that can lead to is regret. It could lead to constriction. It can lead to sadness, depression. There's just this disconnect from the brilliance of the ideas that birthed us into form, because we were all birthed into form because we have these dreams. I just happened to read this past week a little bit of the Gospel of Thomas. Now, these were part of the sacred scriptures that were found in Egypt in 1945. They haven't really taken off. Gospel of Thomas hasn't really taken off. And I think the reason why is because there's some that are really cool that we all, like most of you might have heard, the inside is the outside is the inside, the male shall become female, and the female become male. You know, it's sort of very mystical, and like, oh yeah, I love this. But if you read some of the other ones, they're like, you know, a little bit harder to read. So I think it's like there's certain ones I'm sure most of us have heard somewhere, but then there's some you're just like, I don't know if it made it any better. So anyway, I just read, and I just had, in this book, she only did a few, and I thought this one was so interesting with our talk. You've heard this, I shouldn't assume. If you've known anything about sayings in the gospel, you've probably heard this one: for those who have, more shall be given, and those who don't have, more shall be taken away. This is saying almost the exact same thing, but there's a little bit more dramatic ending, so I thought I'd share the dramatic ending. It's Logian number 70. If you bring forth what is within you, what you have will save you. If you do not have that within you, what you do not have within you will kill you. Pretty dramatic. What was that? Repeat it? Yeah. Absolutely. If you bring forth what is within you, what you have will save you. If you do not have that within you, what you do not have within you will kill you. It's a very intense saying. But you go through so many spiritual teachers and just people, humans who have developed, and say that if they hadn't brought forth their dreams, it would have felt like death. Go back to, it's so easy to see in children, go back to little 2-year-old Julian. What if I said, no, you can't play. You can't play baseball. I hate baseball. It would serve me a lot better if you just like cut this out, and I cut that out of him. Thank goodness we don't, parents know not to do that. But if we had, can't we see how that would have killed his soul a little bit? And we can see it with a child, and we have to know that that's the same thing that we cut off from ourselves when we don't live our dreams. And that's how important living our dreams is. It's as important as practicing the presence. So we are committing ourselves to practicing the presence every day. It's the essence of our spiritual life. And at the same time, simultaneously, we are committed to living our dreams. It's okay to play. It's okay to dream. And then another part of this that happens a lot is that we don't think that, sometimes I think one of the things that comes up a lot in classes is ego. Like, what do you do with this thing called ego? So we're going to solve this problem today once and for all, okay? The term ego is attributed to Sigmund Freud. You might be interested to know, and I've mentioned this before, so some of you may already know this, he actually never said or used the word ego. Not once. He only used the word I. It wasn't ego, it was I, the great I am. It was his translator into English, Strachey, decided he wanted Freud to sound more medical. He wanted to be, because he was really trying to get all of this accepted into the medical field in the 1800s. And I just felt too sort of bland and universal, so he's the one who used the Latin word ego. So it was a translator who used ego. It was not actually a thing. This is so essential, because what that reminds us is there's no part of us that's cut off. There's not two parts of us. There's not the real me and then the ego, which is the false me, which I have to kill. That does not exist, and that's not what Freud was even saying, by the way. He was saying, no, the I has to integrate everything. That was the sentences that he was using was the I has to learn how to, the shadow side, the things that hurt, the things that we project out onto others, we have to own as the I. Everything has to become the I. It is the source and sustenance of who and what all of us are. This is really key. So then people say, well, what about the dreams that are all sort of egotistical driven? Because we have this really bad ego thing. Like, what if someone just wants a fast car? Isn't that really like lesser? Isn't that meaning like you're coming from your ego because you want to be better than people because you have a red, fast, powerful car? It's not that the dream is evil or bad. The only place where the pain comes in is in the separation. It's to separate yourself from others. The car itself isn't bad. Having a red supercar that you love the feel of freedom of it, the power of it, the beauty of it, there's nothing wrong with any of that. That could be a dream that makes your whole being come alive. Do what makes you come alive. Where it gets separated is when you say that makes me better than someone else because now we've othered. You know, the pain comes from othering. I'm separating myself from someone because of this car, or this car adds on to make me something that I wasn't before the car. But what I love about when we talk about this in our teaching, everything is connected with the one. There's only one presence here. One of Ernest Holmes' greatest gifts, for those of you who don't have the 365 Days of Living by Ernest Holmes, it's so joyful. Because not all the time, but most of his little things always has a few sentences or a paragraph of, and we know this for everybody. Whatever he's affirmed for himself, he then affirms for the entire world. Everybody is full of joy. Everybody stands in their truth. Everybody is guided. Everybody is abundant. It never separates. It only unifies to know our oneness. That everything I want for myself, I want for everybody, and it's connected to the divine source. Because, as the Christ presence revealed to Julian of Norwich, when she was asking about these prayers, and it said, of course your prayers are going to be fulfilled because I'm the one who put them there. These dreams that you have for a car, I put that dream there. It's not, you might not think it's going to save the world, but it's saving the world just by you living the truth of your being. So there was a great movie, and maybe some of you saw it, that really speaks to this, that Jack and I, we were a little late in seeing it. Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. Oh, good, some of you have seen it. So this is a woman, she's a cleaning lady in England, she's a little older, and she wants to go to a dance, and but one of the houses she cleans this gorgeous Christian Dior dress, and it just takes her breath away. I want that Christian Dior dress for this dance. So she works hard and all these different things, because she makes up her mind. She never ridicules her dream, that her dream is simply for a dress. That's it. Seems so shallow, doesn't it? But she loved her dream, and so she worked hard, and these little miracles happen along the way. She gets money, she goes to Paris. She is in so much joy in living her dream that people are magnetized to her and they don't even know why. People who say, you don't belong here, there's so many reasons why she finds her way into the house of Christian Dior. She's with all these upper elitists, but she's just like, no, I'm here to get a dress. Like she doesn't see the obstacles that everyone else is seeing, and she's changing people's presence and how they live just by going after her dream for a dress. It seems so small and so insignificant, but her belief and her love and her passion for her dream opens up everybody. It's a great, I won't go any further than that, but because if you haven't seen it, it's just a joy-filled movie. Wonderful. No dream is too small, and no dream is ridiculous. It's only ridiculous if we use it to cut ourselves off from other people or from the divine. Like when I wanted to become an actress, I knew that was me. Like I didn't have any divine guidance on this, or this was coming from a transcendent place. But I had a conversation with the divine about it. I said, look, I know I want this. I know I haven't heard from you, but I want this, and I hope you're okay with it. And of course, everything was used. I ended up, because of that, following that, I found New Thought, which I never would have because it was in LA. There were no New Thought churches in Boston when I was there, and there is now, but for decades there weren't any. I would have never found New Thought. Spirit uses everything. If I continue to give my dreams over and say, yes, and whatever you want and higher, this is what I want, and we work to this conversation between the I and the I, because there's only one eye. So we're having these multiple stories, but it's all with the one eye. Everything is working for our good. Whatever your dream is, it was the dream the divine I am put in the center of your being. Yeah. I'm experiencing this just a little bit more with Jesse Itzler. Has anyone heard of Jesse Itzler here? Okay, so he's like he has a lot of energy. He's becoming a motivational speaker, but he just already lived his life this way. He bought a jet company in his 20s, and then he sold it, and he's always doing something. And so his big thing is events. He likes to create, for his thing is it's about building a life resume. So it's not about goals in terms of that will make me a better person, but I want to create experiences that open me up and make me more fulfilled. So he always has events. So he's currently on his current event, which is to ride across America. And he was always a runner, not a bike rider, so he had to train a lot. He got a group of 10 guys, but he doesn't do anything small. He's filming everything. They have all this caravan. They bring saunas along with him at the end of the day and icing, and then they made a spontaneous decision on the third night. They're in New Mexico, and they're like, he's a part owner of Atlanta Hawks. Oh, look. They made the playoffs. Let's all fly to Atlanta, go watch the game, come back, and then do our same amount of mileage the next day. These guys have so much energy and so much life. And he's taking everybody with him. And he's raising money for so many of these things are for, to heal. There's a great AIDS bike ride, which I love, from here to LA, which is to raise money for AIDS. And often they're for some disease. He's doing it to raise money to get bicycles to kids. He's getting it for play. He's thinking play for children who can't ride bikes is important as feeding the poor and healing the sick. Yeah, play is that important, right? Imagine what you did on your bicycle when you were a little kid, and if you hadn't had a bicycle, I don't know, a bicycle played a big role in my life. So I get it. There's just pure joy, but he's bringing everybody with him. It's not, look what I'm doing and see how great I am. He's like, yeah, come join the party. Come meet us along the way. People are coming from different states, and I mean, everyone's getting into it. He's like, because everything he does is, I'm here to create community. Whatever I do, it's about the memories that we create together. It's not about the end goal. It's about all the memories that we're creating together with as many people as possible all along the way. Every time you have a dream, remember it's not just about you, as small as it may seem or as big as it may be. It's not about becoming the best or the superiorest. That's not a word. All right, you know what I mean. Thank you. Because, I was thinking, because Jack actually used to go on these bike rides when he was, when I first met him, and they were like 1,500-mile bike rides. And the guy who led him, he's been doing them since he was a kid, and he's still doing them. He's in his 70s, and he has ridden across country. But nobody knew about it. I mean, he had this little group doing it. And it's not about what's better, I'm like, because Jesse's always like, I'm 53, look at me, and Jack's friend is 74. But this isn't about, what? Yeah. What'd you say? Doing more. But it's not, see, but what I love is neither one of them are in competition because they're just in joy. They're just having fun. They do it in two totally different ways because this is what we do. We start comparing ourselves, right? So here's the thing. So you want to know it's okay to play, it's okay to dream. And the second one is to know what your dream is. And you can have multiple dreams, but this is a really important one. Because, you know, I asked at the beginning, like, how many of you are living your dreams, and most of you raised your hands. And so I think in general, especially as we get older, we get more comfortable with the idea of dreams. We've lived a lot, we've had a lot of work, a lot of cool things happen to us. We feel a little bit more steady in who we are. We've had some successes, we've had some failures, we realize life is up and down. We're a little bit more even keel. We don't need to feel validated, like, oh, if I just get this dream, then I'll be fulfilled. We know that we can have a dream fulfilled, and we might still have other things. There's still the next day. So I think sometimes we might mute our dreams or become a little, just sort of dismiss them. Maybe not you, but I will say this for me. Because I've talked about dreams before, and I would say it's had more meaning for me this past week, unexpectedly. And I realized I had muted a dream and hadn't even realized I had done it. So I have a friend and colleague who loves this particular book and refers to it a lot, and it has for a long time, and I've never felt particularly called to it. But suddenly I'm like, I have to read this book. Like, you just know you get that inner calling. So last Sunday, it arrived, and I just started, everything, I got rid of all my other books. I'm like, I gotta read this. And the first 2 chapters, I'm like, yes, this is my people, I love it. And then all the chapters after that. But it was interesting, because she was writing about all the things that I have been working on in my own life, the spiritual experiences I've had, for years. This is like, it's been going on. And I remember a year or two ago, I was thinking, man, if I were to die, would I have regrets? And this thought popped in my bed, oh, I haven't written this book yet, this sort of my way of all these ways, because I like to integrate. And so I'm like, I haven't written that out yet. And so I started thinking, oh, how would I do that? And then I thought, so and I did it, and I didn't even know I'm doing it, so I'm sharing it, only to say, maybe it doesn't look in this way, but sometimes we are so smart by the time we're this age. It's so easy to talk ourselves out of something because, really, who's going to care? We're all going to die anyway. So I thought, well, I don't even know if I could. It's really hard. What I want to write about is very complex. I'm like, it would be really hard to write this well. So I probably, if I tried to write it, it's going to be not very good. There's probably going to be other people who write it. Like, I kept thinking, it's going to take me like 10 years to write this thing, 8 years. Like, by the time I get this actually written, there's going to probably be 30 other versions of this already printed, and it's going to be completely irrelevant. So it's going to be bad, it's going to be irrelevant, it's not really needed. I'm very clear that this is an idea that, I see and I'm clear, but it's out there. I know there's other people who have caught it, and I'm sure, I'm like, they're going to be writing about it soon enough, never mind, so it'll get done. And so I'm reading this book, and I'm like, no, this isn't right. She hasn't done my model. Like, I was expecting you to write. Okay, I'm going to get to that in a minute. So I thought, oh, I don't know if I write this book, if it will be well written. I don't know if anyone's going to read it or care, except maybe my grandchildren someday. Oh, look at this little book that my mom tried to write. Grandma tried to write. Or maybe it's irrelevant. Or it's irrelevant. By the time it gets out, these ideas have already been out there, been there, done that. And then this week I'm like, but so what? I have to write this. It's in my soul, because what brings me alive, I get so excited when I start thinking and talking about it, and I get really into it. But I'm the one who keeps deciding that it's not very important. That basically, because sometimes when I talk it to people, people sort of go glassy-eyed on me. So I'm like, people aren't really interested in it. But I'm interested in it. And I want to live my dream whether anyone else gets it or not. So that's what I mean about what your dream is. If I had listened to this talk a month ago, I wouldn't even realize that I had dismissed this in my mind. I had just so dismissed it that I wasn't even thinking about it. It just like wasn't really, it's okay. It's okay if I die without it happening. Don't do that to yourself. That's the same thing as telling Julian, don't play baseball right now because you're not going to be a professional football, baseball player or college baseball player, so don't bother now. There's no point. You know how many other people play baseball, Julian? Come on. You're one of the thousands. What a waste of time. Everyone plays baseball. You're not going to do anything special with baseball. I mean, when I do it with that child, it seems so obvious, and I realized I had done it to myself and didn't even know, and I had done it so well and so convincingly that I had even taken it out of my mind, and reading this book was the greatest gift because it brought it all alive. Oh, this is a dream, and it's a dream I have to live. It was a dream I was born to live. My whole life has been living this very clearly, very consciously, and it's like dismissing my life. So I'm asking you, we were all born with these dreams inside of us, and especially as we've gotten older, we think there's no room, there's no reason to dream. But your dream is essential, or dreams are essential, and they're essential until the day we leave this planet. I love the reading today. There's no end to our dreams. Those dreams keep going. So it's not like, this is another thing I've learned from Jesse Itzler. He puts out a big calendar. Like, we take up this whole stage, and he plans out his year, because everything is about, I have to have 3 events every year. And so having watched him, and he has this great event, and it's like he talks about it for like a day, and then it's on, then he's on to something else. But he's like, but the memories are there, the memories I create with my family, with my friends, that's what matters, right? It's those memories. What are your dreams? What are you limiting yourself? Have you limited yourself in your dream for whatever reason? I just read about a woman who is 59 years old, and she just, for her age group, broke the marathon world record. And then the article said, and this is amazing, if you actually adjust her time with her age, she beat the world record for all women ever. 59 years old. Where are the limitations in our mind? And even if you don't fulfill your dream and you die, but you've died giving yourself to the dream, you've been transformed by it, right? You know from the times you have dreamed, you've been transformed by doing it. You're transforming the people that you're around by doing it. So what is your dream? It's okay to dream, it's okay to play, and it's okay to dream. And to know what that dream is. And sometimes we don't know how to do the dream. And I was just reading, Reverend Michael was talking about when he first had agape, and he was feeling this desire to write music, and he met Ricky Byers. And Ricky Byers was a great musician and singer, but she neither writes on paper music or knows how to read music. And he wants her to lead a choir, and she goes, well, I don't know how to read music or write it. And Reverend Michael is tone deaf, but he wants to write music too. And so he has a series of dreams where he's talking with Johann Sebastian Bach, which is really, for those of you who know, not his type of music. But they're communing about how Bach's explaining to him how he wrote his music, how he was communing with that infinite dream, remember that causal idea that you can't see yet? He said, I'm in relationship. I commune with that. I talk with it. And it starts showing me the way. And Reverend Michael was learning about that. So when he was working with Ricky, and Ricky's like, I haven't a clue how to run a choir. He's like, neither do I. But let's commune with Spirit and allow it to guide us. You don't even have to know how you're going to do your dream. But if you say yes to that dream within you, that longing within you, the ways are going to happen. Just like Mrs. Harris and her dress. Thirdly, we need to praise ourselves. And this comes from the great philosopher, Snoop Dogg. I love how things just show up. Just happened to see this little video clip of Snoop Dogg, and he's like, you know what? If you wait around for other people to catch your idea, and validate you, you are lost. He said, people aren't going to see or understand what you're doing. It doesn't matter. He said, you have to pat yourself on the back. You got to keep praising yourself. Forget everybody else. You got to be so into what you do that you love it. And then I saw a thing from his wife this morning. She's like, I praise myself so much, I don't care if anyone's clapping for me. I'm clapping for myself, and I'm clapping loudly. And again, that's not ego. See, this is the interesting thing. I had to play with this even with the book. I'm like, well, do I think I'm better than somebody? No, this has nothing to do with being better. It's just saying, I see me. You are not bad for seeing yourself and praising yourself, because that's what encourages you. Other people, just like Mrs. Harris, she believed in her dream, and she's just like, yes. And everyone else started to feel more, even before they really understood what she was doing and couldn't really understand why she was doing it, because where are you going to wear a beautiful dress? You live in this little dumpy neighborhood, you know, who's going to see it? You know, they had all their blocks. She didn't have any of that, so they started catching on her energy even before they knew why she was doing it. Your dream, when you start congratulating yourself and thanking yourself for every day that what you're doing something for your dream, nobody cares. Nobody cares. If I do write this book or not book, nobody's going to care. No one's going to say, oh, Harriet, because they don't even see it. And if I'm working on it, you know, I don't think people are going to care. Here's what we have to know. So, 8 billion people on this planet. How many of the dreams that people fulfill, of the 8 billion people, are we going to know one generation on? How many of dreams fulfilled are we going to know 2 generations on? Your dreams matter to this time and into this place. It may be seen and it may not, but what matters is that you do it. That divine, infinite, loving intelligence within you needs to shine its light as you. Praise yourself for being that light. See that in yourself. Don't wait for other people to see it. See it in yourself. And then the last one is to embody it. And this is something I've also been learning in writing my autobiography, which I'm only writing it for my brothers. And it's been an extraordinary journey for which I'm so grateful. And it's brought so much healing that needed to be healing that I didn't even need healing. All dreams do this, by the way. This isn't just because it's an autobiography. Anything that you do, you're going to have your challenges, you're going to have your difficulties, you're going to have healings that need to happen. That's just the nature of it. Your dream that's calling you is going to invest all of your being, and therefore all of your being is going to go through healings and transformations. But one of the things the autobiography did for me, which I didn't know that I hadn't done, and it's very strange. So I started being a minister, and I know, you know, when I said Agape, everyone talked about their spiritual experiences like the weather, you know, just sort of. And up until then, I didn't. I still felt very close. So in speaking on Sundays, it started coming out. You know, I started telling these stories of different spiritual experiences I had. But it wasn't until I started writing the autobiography, it like dawned on me, like, wow, you know, this is, like I started seeing myself differently. And it's not just about the spiritual things, making connections, like even I was just, my latest installment, I was writing about my time in ministerial school. I'm like, wow, that was really cool. Again, not about being cocky, but I started to embody it. We live our life sometimes and then we just move on like it never happened. So we can't not integrate the things that have happened, the good things. We can be really good. We talk about going into the past and healing the things that need to be healed in the past, and this was painful, blah, blah, blah. All very important, but there are some amazing things that have happened in your life. Every one of you have had amazing things that you have done. I am sitting in a room full of, and online, with miracle makers. You know that. You know that. And we have to embody it. That takes a little bit of time and say, what are these miracles, these times where I've really worked my off? And wow, look at the results. Look at this inner work that I did, this outer work, these dreams, this whatever it was. And it was, I mean, really own it, feel it in your body. Because I realized in owning that, I actually became a little bit more solid, a little bit more present on this planet, a little bit more me. Because I realized there is a me here. And every one of your me's are so essential. And sometimes, especially in the service, people who are interested in service, we get often more interested in other people's me's and sort of dismiss or diminish our own me's. Service is essential, but really owning yourself, because when you do that, they kind of go together, the thanking yourself and embodying it. Then you're not waiting around for other people to do it for you. Then you're not mad because other people aren't seeing you, because you are seeing yourself. The I of you is seeing the I of you. And there's only one I. So guess what? You start seeing yourself and honoring yourself and embodying yourself and feeling it in your body, and that energy is going to start resonating around you because there's only one I. Dream big. It's okay to play. Know what your dream is. Pat yourself on the back and embody the life that you've already lived that's been a miracle. You with me? Yes. Dream big, baby. So it's a joy. We're going to pray, we're going to do music, and then we're going to do our new members. But I just want to say to our new members who are joining us in dreaming big and being full out who you are, we're so glad you're here. It's a beautiful day to celebrate. Let's pray. I'm praying online and with people here, with people who know who they are. The divine presence, the power, that of ourselves we are not the power, but the divine essence of who we are, the I am, the great I am, and every one of us is this great I am. So I just want you to breathe into this I am. And as we breathe into this I am, I want you to recognize that this I am has no place where it stops and anything else begins. So your neighbors to your right and to your left, neighbors who are on the other side of the planet in a different time zone, the animals under the ocean, the animals in the life forms in the desert, in the tropical, in the cosmos, in the galaxies of stars, all of it, I am. So connect this moment. We're just going to take a moment of stillness and connect the I that is at the center of your being with the I that is everywhere present. And when we feel this I that has no limits and no boundaries, we know we are free. We know that we know that we know that we are free. There's no limitations. There's nothing to fear. We are everything. We are everything, and it is beautiful and harmonious and grace. We are this beautiful presence, this white screen that just holds all of our creation. All creation is the I am that I am. In compassion and peace and in joy. And we can never be outside of it. It's impossible. So we just breathe and rest in that. We let go into that. We trust it. It is the very essence of our being. I am. And as we claim and know this I am, we feel how this I am is uniquely expressing in our own heart, body, mind, soul. We feel the dreams of the I am. We don't judge them. We don't worry about if it's in alignment with the purpose or not. When we are in the I am, we are in the I am. And the dreams that are at the center of our heart, of our essence, are the I am calling itself into form. It's the I am calling itself into play. It is the I am delighting in itself, loving itself, creating itself into form through and as all 8 billion people on this planet in all life form. I am. I call myself forth. I am. And in that I amness, we see and we feel everything that's unfolding in our life, and we call it good and very good. We call our dreams good and very good. We celebrate the dreams that animate our life, and we celebrate the dreams that animate our neighbor's life and others' life As long as there's no separation and otherness, we are in the oneness of all life. We celebrate all dreams everywhere, all of the time. Our hearts are wide open into infinity. Our hearts are open into infinity. Our bodies, our souls, our minds, everything that we are into infinity. And we delight. We delight in who we have been, and we delight in who we are today, and we delight in who we are becoming. It is all one, the great I am. We are the great dreamers. The I am of us is the great dreamer of all creation, and we are that vehicle here and now. It is because of us, because of us, these great dreams of the I am are coming into being, because we are saying yes every day. We are putting feet on our faith. We are putting feet on this I am dream. We are saying yes. We are saying yes. We are saying yes, and it is becoming more alive, more full of its joy, more full of its creativity, full of its uniqueness as every one of us, because we are that yes, the I am yes. In so much gratitude and so much love, knowing that all that has been spoken here and continues to reveal itself into the end of time, we just say thank you, thank you, thank you, God. In deep and abiding gratitude and everlasting peace, we let this word be now. In the great I am, we say, and so it is.